Hey, welcome everybody.
Hello, hello. Welcome to another MSI Insider live stream. We got a cool topic today.
My name is Erik, and yours?
I'm Mike.
Oh, hi everybody.
I'll put my mic a little bit lower.
I think everyone knows you by now, right?
Yeah, well, maybe not everybody.
Famous in the MSI channel.
Yeah. So we didn't have a topic last week, if you recall. So
I'm blocking
then
the topic.
somebody asked us, AMD wants to do something, and we were like, okay, and it's Black Friday. So Mike, maybe you can switch to
It's
this
Wednesday.
slide. It soon will be Black Friday.
That's true.
Yeah. So we thought let's maybe do a little bit with Black Friday because a lot of you people want to upgrade, want to buy a new PC, and yeah, I want to say, but it's mainly Mike. You know, he put some PC configuration together.
Yep.
From how do you call it? From budget or poor?
It's from budget to beast.
Oh, budget to beast. Yeah.
Budget to beast.
Indeed. So
different price points,
Yeah.
but also different
Philosophies.
goals, right? Yeah, philosophies, different use cases. So
and Mike and I, we already had a lot of fights about this. Why not this one and why not that?
Yeah.
So I hope we can fight today in the chat together, all together, bashing Mike's configurations.
So feel free to argue with us in the chat.
Yeah.
We will gladly discuss everything with you. Some of the components we also picked because we know some very good deals are coming during Black Friday.
We looked at all Black Friday deals, and unfortunately we only had an overview of all the European deals.
Yeah, but expect some overlap.
I suspect this will be everywhere the same.
Yeah.
Maybe we can go back to main and talk about the giveaway. Oh, we
Yes.
have it here.
I have it everywhere.
You have it everywhere. So if you go to msi.com/2/insider, I hope it works again. I really don't know. It should be fixed.
Should be
yeah,
fixed.
A few weeks ago.
Yeah.
Or on YouTube and Twitch, you can click on the Gleam link and participate today. This week, we're going to give away a Gleam wallet
Gleam
code.
wallet code.
Not Gleam, sorry. Steam.
And they can participate through Gleam.
So it's Steam Deck and not Stream Deck.
Both exist.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Yeah. This is the Stream Deck.
Stream Deck, you're going to push on.
But yeah, make sure to participate. So you only have to sign up once. We will do several drawings throughout the stream. And maybe you get lucky and win a Steam wallet code.
Yeah, indeed. We're not going to build PCs today because we have... Actually, you don't see it, but we had to help Mike today with how do you call that small thing?
A cart.
Yeah. It's just a cart.
A cart, yeah.
Anyway, we were dragging a lot of...
Like a transport.
We better would have been when we moved to our FEE department where Ruud is sitting and put our camera there.
A lot of the components were there.
Everything was almost there, you know.
Yeah. So we don't have all the components from the configurations today,
No.
but we did gather as many as we could. We have some cases as well. Some have completely different builds in them, but just so we can show you what the case looks like, etc. We will talk about the different components, also the ones we don't have here. If you have any questions in chat, also let us know. And if you want to discuss stuff or you think we should have made different choices in the configurations, also let us know. Then we can talk about it.
Skeets, we have a lot of monitors on sales.
Yes.
From what I know in Europe. Yeah.
Today we will not talk about monitors specifically.
Nope.
So we really focus on
Actually,
DIY.
I could also ask Mankit, for these PCs configurations, can you suggest a monitor? But no time.
Yeah. Also, we already have a lot to talk about today. So yes, we will specifically focus on components today.
Yeah.
So DIY builds, and all are based on an AMD CPU.
And an NVIDIA GPU.
And an NVIDIA GPU. Yeah.
It just happened that way.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we get questions in chat again. Maybe we can first talk about latency killer, Mike. This is we have AMD-based PCs, so I always ask our engineers, do we have something new we can talk about? And they said, well, maybe you can talk about latency killer. This is a new exclusive MSI feature, and what happened with the latest two AGISA codes from AMD, so basically that's the core of the BIOS, which determines a lot of, well, of course, I mean, it should have less bugs each time, improved compatibility, stability,
basically the part that controls the CPU, basically.
Yeah, maybe,
so that's made by AMD, the AGISA code.
Yeah,
and we implemented it in
the
our
last few important AGISA updates. It slowed down, or it increased the memory latency. So now we have a feature which is called Latency Killer, and I think we announced it last week Tuesday. At least then I announced it internally to our local teams. So I think the press release was also around that time to have it on Godlike. It was released on Godlike, but now already all, I don't want to say all, but we have it working on all the boards. We have it implemented, and it's a matter of time before it will be released. Like the screenshot on the right side below, you see the Pro A620. Even that one got this feature.
So basically, in the end, it should be available on
yesterday.
all MSI AM5 motherboards. Yeah.
Indeed, no matter which 600 or 800 series.
Exactly.
What this is doing, of course, memory latency. And we already showed you in benchmarks that memory latency is very important.
Depends on what you're doing.
Of course, what kind of application, in or game indeed.
Some applications very sensitive, certain games indeed.
And this for the 9000 series, so 2 examples. One is the Ryzen 9 9900X. There we have a decrease of latency from 12.3%. So that's a big step. And then on the new X3D CPU, we have a 8.8% reduction. So I think quite interesting. And there you see also, we have a blog, you can check it, there is more information there. So I wonder how the non-X3D, well, it's what I just said.
Yeah, so the latency difference for the non-X3D is
even
actually even bigger than with X3D. A little bit, but still.
And as you can see on top, this is a feature you can enable in the BIOS. Yeah. And to be honest, I didn't ask our engineers if this is what is the default status. Maybe it's auto, and I don't know how they, if it will be always on or off or how that works. But at least you can enable it.
Yeah. With the new BIOS version. Yeah.
Let's maybe go to our first, because we probably are running out of time already.
Yeah, let's go to it.
I cannot, my legs are cramped here because there is so much hardware.
There's hardware everywhere.
There's hardware everywhere. Yeah.
Let's first start with the configuration, and then we will just grab some components on the table.
So this is the entry-level budget, gaming PC. Well, it's also budget. What I did with pricing, we calculated all these pricing in euros, and
this is just an indication because this can differ from region to region, and there can be slight differences, of course, with Black Friday deals as well.
Absolutely, this will be cheaper. This will be cheaper because
especially if you look for the Black Friday deals, you should be able to.
Some of the Black Friday deals are included, but for sure not all of them. Mm-hmm. I took the European price, including 21% VAT. So for US, I reduced, not reduced, I'm not allowed to do that, but I removed the VAT and I converted to US dollar. So this is an indication for these components. And of course, I mean, a lot of times we discuss what is a complete gaming PC. Is this including mouseboard, mouse, keyboard, monitor? We just talk about the desktop PC
so specifically the system, without any peripherals or other.
So Mike, maybe you can defend why you picked this CPU?
Yeah, well, also why we picked this platform, because of course this is the older platform by AMD.
AM4.
So AM4. That has to do all with the price for this one. To reach a certain price point and basically get the best performance you can at this price point, AM5 would become a little bit too expensive. Of course, motherboards are a bit more expensive. CPUs are definitely more expensive. Of course, they are a bit faster as well, but you will have to pay a premium for it. For this, you also have to keep in mind that AM4 does not offer the upgrade path that AM5 does. So it can be worth the investment for AM5.
AMD recently still released some CPUs.
Yes,
and there are always rumors about new CPUs. But
completely new architectures.
No, yeah.
I don't know for sure, but I don't expect AMD to release.
No, because the new architecture only has a DDR5 controller, a memory controller inside.
So already kind of makes it
very difficult to.
Basically impossible.
And indeed, if we are honest, the CPUs they release, small speed bumps or, like that.
Yeah.
Nothing exciting.
But on the other hand, if you would bump this to AM5, it would become more expensive because AM4 is extremely affordable right now. DDR4 is also very affordable. Yeah. The memory kit we have.
Do you remember the price? Was $28 this one?
Yeah, something like that. No, even less. I think in US dollar could be. We checked the euro price, and this memory kit is a 16 gigabyte memory kit, dual channel. And I think it was like 21 or 22 euros here in the Netherlands, which is pretty insane for a memory kit. Yeah. Of course, there are some upgrade options here as well. So we picked a 16 gigabyte memory kit. Maybe it's worth it for you to go for a 32 gigabyte memory kit. Of course, it will make it a little bit more expensive.
But a little bit.
Yeah. Same for the SSD. This one is 500 gigabyte for like 30, 40 US dollar or euros, you can upgrade to a 1 terabyte SSD. Maybe worth it for you, all depends on what you want to do with it exactly. But yeah, keep in mind this is really to reach a certain price point, so it's definitely not high end.
We didn't look at feel. I mean, we have a lot of discussion already, like, hey, this SSD, why is it not black? And then only a 2-fan cooler and 4060.
This is not something we configured for the looks. This was like, for a certain price point, we want to have good gaming performance.
And still, indeed, a decent gaming performance. So we're looking at 1080p gaming performance. Yeah. And in some cases, you can even play 4040p, depending, of course, on what kind of games or what kind of frame rates you prefer. But yeah, and we could even cost this down further. Like use a 20 series or a 30 series, they're still on the market. Use like 8 gigabyte memory for maybe, but you know, it's all only small fine tuning.
Yeah, with it, we also looked a bit at the balance, and I think this, like a Ryzen 5 5600, I would bundle with at least 16 gigabytes of memory. Of course, you could make it cheaper by 8, but also 8 in certain situations, even in certain games nowadays, 8 can be a bit of a limiting factor. 16 is usually.
Skeet is saying DDR5 is no longer expensive. That's correct. However, this is cheaper. So
yeah, the thing is, because Skeet, you mentioned DDR5, but DDR5 would also require a new motherboard, because on AM4 you cannot do DDR5. AM4 CPUs only have a DDR4 memory controller, so that would automatically bump you to AM5, and AM5 as a platform is more expensive. The motherboards are also a bit more expensive. The CPUs are more expensive. This CPU actually, here in the Netherlands, it was actually
73?
No, it was 85 euros, I think.
85, okay.
Which is quite insane, because I personally own a 5600X, so well, very close to 5600 in terms of performance. And when I bought it, it was like 300 euros. So this went down in price a lot.
And this, of course, also has limitations.
Skitzel says 500 gigabyte is no longer viable for PC gaming. It depends a bit what you want to do. For AAA titles, I totally agree. If you play a lot of AAA titles.
What was Stalker? 170 gig or something?
Certain AAA titles got far over 100 gigabyte. And then I totally agree. Then it would be worth it maybe to invest in a bigger SSD, like a 1 terabyte model, or maybe even a 2 terabyte model. But of course, they will be a bit more expensive. On the other hand, I think a lot of people who buy PCs like this, they want to, for example, play esports titles. Fortnite, of course, very popular game. Games like Rocket League, games like Counter-Strike, Valorant. They're not very big and also not as demanding, so this will be a perfect PC for those.
This is more or less a PC like what I got for my son.
Yeah, I think
he plays Fortnite, a little bit of finals.
I think it's a very nice starting point.
GTA 4 or 5, sorry. Yeah, so indeed, this is just, and talking about size for the SSD, 500 gig, it's not that big. However, you need to make choices. And SSDs, they're relatively cheap compared to what they used to be, but still, it will double the price probably more than double the price of the storage.
A620 is still cheaper. Not really. I would say the motherboards, A620 is very close to B550 motherboards.
And this has a big advantage.
Yeah, and especially if you have now certain deals with Black Friday on certain B550 boards, they can get really affordable. And also the CPUs on AM5 are just quite a bit more expensive. So the total combination of the components will be a bit more expensive. Because of course, for this PC, we have been looking at AM5 as well, but it would just bump up the price quite a bit.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why we went for entry level, still with AM4.
But there's liquid cooling also. There's a Black Friday deal on because this one has RGB. I think there are cheaper. Normally there are cheaper ones, but this one now had a very good deal on it.
If you would even want to save costs, then you could, for example, go with a boxed cooler or something like that.
Oh yeah, indeed.
It will make your system a bit louder.
The CPU comes with a boxed cooler.
Cool thing though about this CPU and this motherboard, it is a B550 motherboard, but on AMD, on B series chipsets, you can still overclock.
Yeah, not only memory, but also CPU.
Yeah, you can overclock a Ryzen 5 5600 on a B550 motherboard. Yeah. So that's pretty cool as well. That's something you cannot do on A620, by the way. So A series cannot overclock CPU, B series they can.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, in the end, this is a dead end. I mean, upgrading will be very difficult. Yes. I mean, there will.
There
you
are
can,
some options.
Yeah. So you can, of course, you can put more memory in it. Probably DDR4 will. I mean, second-hand market will continue to be cheap. There are faster CPUs here, which you can upgrade. They will also become on the second-hand market cheaper.
And also the 5700 X3D, specifically one that would still be in it, because that one actually.
And you can
also
upgrade the
pretty
GPU as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, if there's a newer generation CPU, whenever that is, I mean, no problem there.
And this B550 motherboard also supports PCI Express Gen 4. So also newer CPUs or GPUs or ones that, for example, like the 4060 in this one, that one is limited to 8 lanes. But because this motherboard offers Gen 4, it won't bottleneck you in any way. No. Still with Gen 3, it's still very limited, but you will see a little bit of difference.
So there's an upgrade path, but you know it will only take you up to a certain moment because the platform AM4, you know, it's quite old. How old? 9 years already?
Oh, that old?
I don't know.
I think it was like 20. Yeah, it could be 20. I think 8 years, 2016, 2017 like maybe. No. I think 2017, I would say. If you are already on AM4 yourself and you want to upgrade, then also, for example, if you're into gaming, have a look at the 5700 X3D. I think for the price, that is a very hard CPU to beat. I saw
maybe also hard to get.
No, I think that one's quite doable. The 5800 X3D, but that one I think is officially end of life as well by AMD. At least it is basically impossible nowadays to get. But that one was also relatively expensive, and the 5700 X3D is a lot cheaper and almost as fast. It's just a few percentage difference. And I think you, at least in Europe, you can get them, I saw them for under 200 euros now. I think in North America, maybe you can also get them for under 200 US dollar now. So that is, I think, a very good deal. If you still want, if you have an AM4 system already and you want to give it one last upgrade for gaming specifically, that is a very interesting
So
CPU.
two things from the chat. Ves Zalex is asking, will we be uploading recommendations to the Insider page? No, that's just for the videos indeed.
Yeah.
Somebody said we didn't have air coolers. I think Alan, yeah. True, but MSI do not do air coolers.
Not true.
Actually, we have.
What do you mean? Look, by the way, this is the case in the configuration, the Forge 100R.
Should you go to main?
Yeah, let me show
this
you.
This is a third-hand example.
This is a very old one, and FAE used this for graphics cards testing in the 30 series. As you can see, all the brackets are gone in the back. And there's actually a very old motherboard in here as well. It is a Z370 godlike. That's how old it is. And you say MSI doesn't have any air coolers, but do you see what's inside here?
Can you open it up?
Yeah, I can. Because there is one of our older air coolers in here.
Yeah.
But these are already end of life, so that is good.
Air coolers is also, I mean, yeah, there is still a market for it, but when you can cool the CPU with a decent air cooler, it's already included in the box. And otherwise, we advise you to go liquid cooling. There is still a market for big.
Yeah, it depends a bit on your situation, on the case you want to use.
But it is between those two segments. Yeah. Between boxed and between entry-level liquid coolers.
Yeah, the thing is also with, I would say like a 240 millimeter liquid cooler nowadays performs at least as well as the very big tower air coolers. Yeah. They're also approximately the same price now, especially the high-end models for air coolers. And then in most situations, the all-in-one liquid cooler is, in most cases at least, a bit more convenient. You can still reach your memory modules, your SSD. So if you want to change aesthetically, I think it's usually also a little bit more pleasing. Yeah. An all-in-one liquid cooler.
So
of course, it is a subjective thing.
This air cooler is end of life.
Yeah. This is one of our much older.
Yeah. So I think the air cooler business for MSI was also quite difficult because this was done by our VJ department. Yeah. You know, then they know how to make coolers for GPUs. So for them it was logical. Okay, we have a good cooler on the twin processors, etc. You know, on the GPUs. Let's also make a CPU cooler. However, that's a different kind of business. So internally, that is better. You know, to put it in a different department where we also do the motherboards and the PSUs. You know, the liquid coolers. That makes more sense.
Let me also quickly show you a little bit of difference between AM4 and AM5. I have some CPUs here in front of me.
Go to the mobile camera.
I can do it here. So this is 5600 AM4. Look at if it's transparent if I hold it like this. But as you can see, the pins are here on the back of the CPU. Don't watch the written stuff here. Yeah, you can. This is an old CPU anyway, so that one you can. At least an older CPU. This is an AM5 CPU, so in this case 7700X, but they all look like this, and they don't have the pins here. It's very reflective, so it reflects the green screen. But as you can see, no pins here because the pins are in the socket, so it's an LGA socket. Yeah, it kind of works. Yeah. This also means that it works very different. AM4 and AM5 are not cross-compatible. Like the sockets are completely different, but also the memory controller. So like you already mentioned, AM4 still on DDR4, AM5 is on DDR5. Yeah. So that's also why if you go for this configuration, you cannot upgrade anymore to the newer architectures because they are based on AM5, DDR5 memory, etc. So that is something to keep in mind if you go for a more entry-level system based on AM4 still. But if you basically want to get the best performance for the money at this point, and an upgrade path is not your biggest concern, then I would say AM4 is still very interesting.
Alan say I've noticed that the new range of all-in-one coolers that do not come with a 280 model. Can you comment on that?
It is a little bit more rare. Also has to do with the support in cases. A lot of modern cases support 240, 360, but not all of them can also handle 140mm fans, and those are the ones that are on
240s.
On 280 coolers as well.
Of 280s,
yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
We also just see the demand is bigger for 360 coolers. Yeah. Of course, 360 is still in service area as well, still slightly bigger than 280, with 320mm fans, of course. So we also adjust our assortment to the demand. And if there is more demand for 360mm coolers, at a certain point we have to make choices. And if there is not enough demand for 280, then we will not have 280 on, at least not on all of our models. And that doesn't mean that 280 will disappear completely, at least not for now, I think. I also saw in the Black Friday deals in certain countries that certain 280mm all-in-one liquid coolers will be on sale. So if you're still in the market for one of those, they do still exist. We do still sell them, but not every single all-in-one liquid cooler product line here has one of those.
Anything else you want to show from this?
So we talked about CPU, liquid cooler. Yeah, maybe let's have a look at the graphics card because I think that's a rather cute one.
It's a small one.
It's a small one, and as some of you may know, I love small hardware and ITX systems. But this is the RTX 4060, and this is a Ventus 2X model. Yeah,
2X means two fans.
Yeah, as you can see, this is a small card. It's not very big.
But maybe you have big hands.
Yeah, okay, let's, where's the banana for scale?
I don't have a banana.
Can I have your Coke can?
No.
I need it for scale.
We get bland.
Yeah, if you block everything and we say it's Pepsi instead of Coke, then
like this.
Yeah. You see, Coke can for scale. So this is a relatively small card.
Yeah.
Still very capable though. Of course, if you want to play in Ultra HD resolution, AAA titles, ray tracing on, this will not cut it. But for all the esports titles,
it supports it.
You can run it, but at 4K resolution, it won't be a pleasant experience.
No. At 4K not.
Yeah. However, for the esports titles, basically all modern esports titles run perfectly fine on this, and especially if you play 1080p resolution. In some cases, I think even 4040p will be fine. Then this is a very capable little card. What's also nice is it has the new encoder from the 40 series.
In fact, Tom has a very good question. Is everything okay with Mankit? Because he was playing a game with radiation, he was all alone here. Is he still alive?
Oh, we need to check on him.
Yeah. We saw him earlier today.
Yeah, he looked okay.
True that.
So that is the 4060 Ventus. Of course, we do have different models available. So if you want one with a bigger cooler, the case can definitely handle bigger.
Yeah, that's also what we said about this system. I mean, we didn't look at look and feel or cooling. Yeah. You get decent things. Mm-hmm. It gives you good performance, but you can upgrade everything, like also the GPU.
Alan says, do you have an arrow to compare it to? No, not on hand, but I can give you a little bit of a comparison myself. Arrow will be slightly shorter because it's a single fan version, whereas the Ventus 2X already says it, is a dual fan version. So basically for the Aero, expect a slightly shorter card, but it may be because the fan, it's a single fan, but it's slightly higher. The cooler may be a little bit taller. I'm not 100% sure, but could be slightly taller. But yeah, even a little bit smaller for the Aero. However, I'm not sure if this is the case for all regions, but in the region where we were located, the Aero is a little bit more expensive. And if you're building a very compact case where you simply maybe don't even have the space for this and you need the shorter card, then Aero may be worth it. Otherwise, at this price point, I would go for the Ventus 2X, simply because at least in this region, it's slightly more affordable. Both have very adequate cooling for a 4060. Both can easily cool this. It's actually a very low power consumption GPU.
Can you switch to main?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, then I'm going to do the first giveaway.
Yeah.
Because I think then we can go to the next one, right?
If you haven't participated yet, go to msi.com/2/insider, or if you're watching on Twitch or YouTube, you can follow the direct link that our bot puts in the chat once every 5 minutes.
Some people, before we start, they saw me looking very serious. They were afraid the gas prices went up in Holland, or the energy prices. Not the case. I was just, concentrated on getting TikTok to work. Didn't work in the end.
I got the I should do the giveaway because I almost doxed everyone there.
Oh.
Let me do this instead, so we don't dox anyone.
Okay.
You can go back to your
But
slide.
I told you, go to main.
Yeah.
And you didn't
But then I
listen.
wanted to switch because I thought you had this still open. I will do the giveaway.
Yeah.
Our first winner for today is Wrath. Congratulations, you won our first Steam wallet code.
Yeah.
We will do more giveaways throughout the stream, so if you already signed up, no need to do anything anymore. Is it safe again to switch to the...
Yes, it is. So now we go to the mid-range gaming PC. And this is quite a step up because it's about, I would say 900, let's go back.
Basically double in price.
It's more than double. It's 1,000 euros higher.
Yeah, so price a lot higher, but you
Yeah.
can also expect quite a bit more performance. And like we talked about before, this is more future-proof. This also
so this
offers
AM5?
Yeah, AM5, new platform, of course.
Well, actually, it's AM5, but we still are running on a B650 chipset. That's also to save cost.
Yeah, of course you can go, if you want, you can go with a higher up motherboard. It depends a bit on what you want and what you need.
We have this one here, right, somewhere?
Yeah, we have quite a bit of these components here.
Oh, you have the box with...
Where shall we start? CPU?
Yeah,
Start
maybe
at the top?
CPU.
So 7700X.
You already showed it?
Yeah. AM5 CPU, of course, with the upgrade path. You can see this is actually 7700X. I'm not sure if you can read it. Basically, they all look the same. This is an 8-core CPU with simultaneous multi-threading, so 60 threads. That also means that you have more cores available than with the Ryzen 5 5600 from the previous build. But also per core, it is a bit faster.
Is that our air conditioning?
It is our air conditioning. It's very loud.
Why? Nobody touched the buttons.
I don't know. But all of a sudden, our air conditioning is going completely mental. This new CPU, of course, also comes with the DDR5 memory controller. So we went with, instead of 16 GB for this build, we went with 32 GB. And we also went with, because it is relatively affordable nowadays, even DDR5, and also the higher speeds and the lower latencies. So we went with a bit of the sweet spot for the 7000 and the 9000 series AM5 processors, and that's basically DDR5 CL30. It's quite affordable.
Unify
very
6000 CL30.
Yeah. So the memory modules I have here are the Trident Z Neo RGB modules. So there's some RGB here on top, and these are DDR5 6000 CL30 modules. When running 6000,
you happen to have them?
Yeah, I am.
Because we picked them in the configuration.
I actually use these a lot, also in the live streams. I think these are
affordable.
Basically my go-to modules for AMD in general. Nowadays, even some faster versions exist. Well, for AMD, you don't really want the high frequency because of the Infinity Fabric, so you will get a latency penalty. However, you can go for lower cache latency. So these modules nowadays also exist in CL28, for example.
Yeah, but only in 32 and 64, not in 128.
No, exactly. And that's something you will see later in a higher end build because they are more expensive.
Yeah.
But these, in terms of price performance, I think hit a really good point. So that's the memory modules we combine. Let's also grab the motherboard. I also have this one.
You don't have the core liquid?
No, it is inside one of the systems.
Oh, okay.
So it will take a bit too much time to build it all out. We went with a 360 millimeter all-in-one liquid cooler here. It is a bit overkill. So this leaves headroom for overclocking if you want, because this combination can also overclock. If you don't want to overclock, you're just going to run it stock, then you could save some money and go with a smaller liquid cooler, because the 7700X you can also cool perfectly fine with the 240 millimeter model. So if you go for the E series, that will be the core liquid E240 instead of the E360. So that's a possibility to save some money. However, 361, you can make the fan spin at a lower RPM, so you can make it a bit more silent. You have a little bit more overclock headroom because of the higher cooling capacity, and it just looks pretty cool in the case as well. The motherboard that we're using for this configuration is this one, and this is the MAG B650 Tomahawk Wi-Fi. So this is one from our previous generation, so not the 800 series, but the 600 series. But it is AM5 and it is cross-compatible, so you can run newer generation CPUs as well. The 9000. Yeah. For this specific build, we're still running a 7000 series. If you want to go for the 9000 series, it will be a little bit more expensive, but will give you a bit more performance. So, for example, the Ryzen 7 9700X.
But also with Black Friday, there will probably be more offers on the old assortment than on the new CPUs.
Series, and that probably makes them very interesting.
Yeah.
Same goes for our 600 series motherboards. We also have some very nice deals on those in specific regions. And I know that this Tomahawk motherboard is one that will get a nice Black Friday deal in specific regions.
Question on Twitch, will 50 series GPUs be PCI Express 5.0? We don't know. If we know, we're not allowed to talk about it. Don't know if 50 series exists, but
we do know PCI Express Gen 5 exists.
Yeah, and PCI Express Gen 5 will not make that much of a difference for GPUs. It never did, so I don't expect, of course, it's a guess, I don't expect it will have any big impact on any next generation.
Yeah, even high-end graphics cards, usually if you bump them one generation back, it's only a few percent.
So if you talk about Gen 5 for your motherboard, make sure you have, make sure, that's maybe the wrong wording, but if you want to have Gen 5 SSDs, make sure you have Gen 5 M.2 slots. The VGA slot doesn't matter that so much.
Yeah. For this configuration, we went with a Gen 4 SSD, so the Spatium M482.
Because of pricing and cooling.
Yeah. Well, basically this one doesn't have cooling, but the motherboard has cooling, so you just stick it in there. It is a 1 terabyte model. If you need more
I won't say because of pricing and the Gen 5s you need to cool.
Yeah, so those need more cooling.
Those are also more expensive.
For sure, yeah. But I think also for gaming, it doesn't really matter. Like a Gen 5 SSD will not give you better FPS in your games. It may load certain things slightly faster. Factom is asking, Mike, does this motherboard have a button for graphics cards? No, that is really something we introduced on our latest series, so on our 800 series.
It has a button because I know you can put a screwdriver on it.
Yeah. So this is just the regular wing, basically, that you push at the end.
But it's a wide wing, so it's easy accessible for a screwdriver.
Don't stab the motherboard.
I told you mine broke at home, right?
Of course you broke it.
Yeah. It's still working. It's still working.
But no, that is something that is not available on this motherboard. So we basically picked this model because of the competitive price, especially in certain regions at Black Friday. But also it won't really lose you any performance. It's not like an 800 series motherboard will magically make your CPU perform better. Of course, it will offer some of the newer features. You will probably have a little bit more expandability, a little bit more ports, newer Wi-Fi versions, all those kind of things. But just for playing gaming performance, this is still very adequate.
So Skeets has a very good remark. He says 1 terabyte for $16.99.
This was an option. If you need more space, then you can.
And I believe there are a lot of good storage deals for 2 terabyte. I believe 100 something.
For 2 terabytes.
2 terabyte M.2 now, 120 or something.
Yeah, I think approximately.
Maybe even a bit lower.
Yeah, and I think like the 1 terabyte, 70, 80 approximately.
Yeah. On Gen 4.
Yeah. And this is of course about making choices. So Skeets, for example, if you don't care about a 360mm radiator, you can save some money there. Go for E240, and then you may have some more budget available for a bigger SSD. So it's all about choices in the end. And it also just depends a lot on what you want to do with it. Do you want to play a lot of AAA titles? A bigger SSD may make sense.
Yeah, and it also depends, you know,
How many different games do you play?
Yeah, well, no, it's more how many games can you play at the same time? Personally,
Oh, sorry, I shouldn't do that.
I personally, I can. Yeah, I slammed the mic. I cannot play five games mixed. You know, I try to focus on one game. If it's a single player game or something, what I'm really into, then I finish it, and then I'm like, yeah, more side missions.
It's a man issue, right? We cannot multitask. We cannot.
Maybe. But so if I'm really done with a game, of course, sometimes if it's a multiplayer game, I leave it because then I play some online with friends. But if it's a single player game, I uninstall and have room again for some other games. So it also depends how you handle this. But
also the speed of your internet connection, I noticed, because when I still lived in my old apartment, my internet connection was quite limited.
Oh yeah.
So I had a lot more games installed on my PC by default. Now I have fiber.
We go for fiber.
Yeah, 1 gigabit per second.
Yeah.
So if I want to install something, it goes very fast, unless it's like a 200 gig game, because some of those also exist, and then it still takes a while. But actually, I use less space nowadays than I did in the past, which is quite odd.
Skeets is also right to say people don't re-download the game to play it again.
Depends on how often you play it, because I have certain games that I don't even play once a year. I don't really leave them installed, especially not because it doesn't take that much time.
But it's also, I mean, I have enough space, but it's also anxiety. I mean, just get it away and have
anxiety.
More space.
What kind of anxieties do you have for
It's like with an electric car that you don't run out of battery.
Yeah, you have range anxiety? My girlfriend has that with our car as well.
This is storage anxiety.
No, I also with the car, I just run until the battery is like 3%. It's fine. If you don't have to walk, then it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, 1 terabyte is not that big indeed. And, I think you always need maybe more storage in multiple devices. So you take one for your boot device and you have one for your games or something. Or at least partitions.
The thing is also, if you already own a PC with an SSD, maybe a smaller, older one, but the motherboard has multiple M.2 slots, so you can always take that with you to your new
I agree with Chat Mike, this should have been a 2 terabyte one, because it only increases price a little bit. And you guys don't know, but we upgraded this PC, I think, like half an hour before the stream, because we first had a Ventus here. It was a 4070 Super Ventus, which was also $80 cheaper, I believe.
It also depends on the region, what the price
Of course. But
so best to check in your region, how big is the price difference? Is it worth it for you to go for a somewhat better cooler, but also it's just a bit prettier car, I think. Yeah. It has some RGB in it as well.
And we upgraded this to the Gaming X Slim, because after this we want to compare something.
But yeah, it's all about choice, and you don't have to specifically copy-paste this configuration. Always look at your specific situation. Maybe a smaller cooler is fine for you. Maybe you need a bigger SSD. Maybe you need more memory. Those are all
Maybe you have
choices.
more budget.
Yeah, and then a higher-end system could be worth
it. In my opinion, this is expensive. I'm old. I don't have to make a secret out of it. In the past, we were talking about...
Everyone knew where.
we were talking about a $700 PC, $1,200 PC, a $1,500 PC, and those steps are now very difficult to make on those price levels. Yeah, you have to cut down on either the GPU. I mean, we can take it.
But if you look to the more distant past, then PCs were expensive.
yeah, true.
It was even way more expensive. You couldn't build an entry-level PC for under $1,000.
No, that's. I'm not that old.
Well,
no, but what
I'm
I mean,
younger. I still remember those times.
It's the prices now went up, and so it's you need to really. I mean, we can downgrade to 4060 Ti maybe, but is that enough for 4040p?
It depends on what you play as well.
And what monitor you have, what resolution, what FPS? Yeah, absolutely.
I would say what we mostly aim for with this system is like a nice 4040p system.
Yeah.
If you want to run 1080p high refresh rate, could also be, for example, could be worth it to maybe downgrade your GPU a little bit, upgrade your CPU a little bit.
Skeet saying, I still remember when the RAM was $20 and CPUs were 60. Yeah.
I think you can still get it for 20 or 60.
A Core i3 or something, yeah.
Yeah, like a Ryzen 3. We saw with the Ryzen 5 5600 was like 80 something. So that's still...
LFP Gaming saying I have a 22 terabyte in total. I record gameplay. Yeah, we're going to later talk about that indeed. That's, yeah.
Let's maybe talk about some more components, because I think we have more on hand. And one of them is the power supply. So let me toss
Which one is this? Okay, so In the previous configuration, we used the A550BN. That's not a modular power supply.
No.
You see the cable there as well. It's no shame. I mean, it just gives you less flexibility and less...
It's also usually modular power supplies are just a bit more expensive.
Also,
so to save some money, it can be worth it to have.
So this
fixed
one
cables.
is, let me see, this was a 550 and that's more than enough for the configuration.
Yeah,
This is
it is
850 and 850 is...
Also, more than enough.
750 should be, but we don't have...
You can easily run this on a 750.
Yeah.
The main reason we went for 850 in this one is upgradability, because this is a bit more of a upgrade path kind of system we picked. Of course, you're on AM5. Maybe in the future you want to upgrade to Ryzen 9 CPU. Maybe you want to upgrade your graphics card to a higher end model. Maybe new generation, those kind of things. So we left a little bit of headroom in this one. That's why we... I would say the power supply here is a little bit overspec. So this also you could save money on if you want to. There is also a 750 watt version of the exact same model. It still offers the PCI Express Gen 5 power connector as well.
Emmeline is saying storage is always not enough. Yeah, I agree.
The power supply. So you see a lot of cables, but it is modular. So here in the back, you can take every single cable out, even the ATX one and the EPS one for the CPU. It is a PCIe 5 power supply, so that means it comes with this cable, and this is a 16 plus 4 pin power cable. And on this 850 watt model, it can go all the way up to 600 watts. It's also written here
with the
on
yellowish
the
connector.
Yeah, and the reason for the yellowish connector is that you can, when you insert it into your graphics card, you can see if you properly inserted it, and you can see if it's all the way in. So if you see yellow, don't switch on your PC. Properly put it in, and then switch it on.
Unless you like the smell.
Yeah, that was like in the early stages of these connectors. There were some instances where people didn't put the plug in properly, and then then you get issues. So that's why we made this bright yellow, so you can easily see this. So, like mentioned before, this is also available in a 700.
Sorry to interrupt. Is this ATX 3.1?
Yeah.
Okay. This is PCI Express 5.1, ATX 3.1.
Yeah. Or I think this is 5.0, 3.6.
Oh.
Yeah. But still, very
Are you sure?
Yeah, I think this one is.
Okay.
Latest generation is 5.1. It's 80 plus gold certified, by the way. It has a nice 120mm fan. It is quite compact, even though it is an ATX power supply.
So this one is 5 years warranty, I believe?
Yes, I think
and the BN, because I had a question in the chat.
Ooh, I'm not sure about the BN.
Maybe
I don't know.
2. Oh, so I'm going to check. I'm going to check. If you don't switch to my notebook.
But that's also something that can differ per region a bit, so that's something to keep in mind. This model, so basically the AGL series, are available in 3 different wattages. So this is the 850 model, but it's also available in 750 and in 650. Something to keep in mind is that the 2 higher end models, so the 750 and the 850, they come with this new PCIe 5 connector. The 651 watt model does not.
So the BN also has 5 years.
Also
so the 551 also 5 years.
And this one maybe even longer.
Come on.
Could you check? Could be 7.
This is a 850 GL PCIe
5. Yeah.
5.
And that is in most regions, because I know there are some exceptions where this is.
Of course, always exceptions.
Yeah. The 850 watt model of this power supply also comes available in white, but more about that later.
Oh, this one also has the cybernetics approval.
Oh, it is 3.1, 5.1 actually.
Yeah.
Not 3, yeah.
Yeah,
this one has the cybernetics as well. Yeah. So this is actually, especially for the price, because this is not a very expensive power supply. For a price, it's really well performing and also very efficient.
No warranty.
That's only for you, because you stab things with with your screwdriver.
I don't see anything mentioned about warranty. That's kind of strange.
Oh, it's at least as long as the other one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Probably even longer.
Don't switch to my notebook, please.
It's the product page, right?
No.
Let me quickly check the chat. Skeet says, I love PCIe and M.2 became Vogue, so I've filled every slot on my motherboard and also have 2 adapter cards in the PCIe slots. Skeets, I'm curious, how much storage do you have in your PC? I actually use a single M.2 SSD myself. of course, I'm a bit limited because of the form factor PC. But I only use one. I did upgrade to a 2 terabyte one, so it's a slightly bigger one.
Yeah, Mike.
But I think I haven't filled it over a terabyte still.
I cannot find it.
Okay, that's something we will look up later. And
Yeah, but it should be at least 5 years.
At least, but yeah, maybe even more. Yeah.
Maybe do a giveaway.
Yeah. If you haven't participated yet, go to msi.com/2/insider. Or if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, you can also follow the direct link that our bot puts in the chat once every 5 minutes. That will lead you to Gleam. Within Gleam, you can perform several actions. The more actions you perform, the bigger chance
you
to
also
win.
have here, right?
Yes.
Is this one?
Right there. Yeah.
This one? No.
No, that one.
This one.
Yeah. You can pick it up, so you can.
Is it empty or filled?
It's filled. There's some stuff in there. Our next winner for today is a Gamer Geek CA. Congratulations! You also won a Steam Wallet code, so please keep an eye on your mailbox. Then we'll email the code to you in the coming days with some instructions on how to redeem it. Congrats. Do you have the configuration up?
Yeah.
For this configuration, it's not the case is split in half. You see. It's like magic, like when you saw a person in half. This is the MSI MPG Velox 100R. It has been on the oh, that was my eyeball.
I was watching on the camera and doing like this.
They just stabbed my eyeball.
Sorry.
That's okay. So the Velox 100R, it has been on the market for a bit now, but still a very nice case. And also in certain regions, there will be a very nice Black Friday deal on this. And still a very capable case for a system like that one. So is it very heavy when it's filled? Well, there's also a very big graphics card in this, by the way. So that makes a bit of a difference.
Which one is
There's a
inside?
Supreme in there.
Oh, yeah. That's another price level.
Yeah.
Actually, it should not be in this case, but it fits, right? So
it fits. I think this was for testing purposes because there is a system that FAE built into this.
Maybe go to main, then people can see the... Yeah, can we power this on?
Look.
Oh.
There's no power supply in it.
Yeah.
So no, we cannot power this on. But I think a very nice combination, and also one that you can get for a very nice price in certain regions.
For some reason I can't find any MSI case. Which country?
Yeah, because in most regions they should be readily available. Especially this model has been out for quite a while, yeah. So that's the total configuration, and the other components you still want to highlight, Eric.
India, sorry, I don't know. Nah.
I'm not sure.
Nope.
But best to check probably with your local reseller if it is possible to get them through them. If they also, I would specifically choose for a reseller that already sells other MSI components, and it may be easier for them to get MSI cases as well.
Okay, so our next system is almost the same system.
Don't forget to lift. You can take this away and we don't need it anymore.
What about your job? Are you
I'm
only
old,
pushing
my back.
buttons?
Yeah, I am pushing the buttons. I'm just chatting with chat a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Don't kill the other case.
Well, there was... yeah.
So later on, if you see a bump in another case, then this is why it happened.
That was Prospect, the most expensive case.
Already a teaser for one of the...
so what we did with the next system is almost the same system as this one, only in white. And not only in white, we also made the Project Zero.
So this is still a mid-range gaming PC. In terms of performance, this is basically identical, well, I can almost say identical to the previous system.
We are going to flip a little bit back and forward. So first of all, you see it is about 150 euros more expensive.
In total. But that's also because we made some different choices.
Yes. First of all, CPU is the same. Secondly, the cooler is a different one.
Yeah.
Because the E360 we don't have in white.
We do.
Oh, we do?
We do.
Why then this one?
Pick up the case behind you, the white one.
Oh my god.
That is actually...
Am I here only...
You're here to lift, so you don't have to go to the gym anymore today.
My god. I forgot to go to the gym.
Yeah, so that's why I put you to work now.
Oh, this is...
Now this is our new I-series liquid coolers in here, instead of the E-series. And that one has a pretty cool feature that I think is especially interesting for Project Zero. So, there you go.
You might need to remove some fingerprints.
This is not the case in this slide, because here you see this is the Pano M100R. This is the 100R, so this is the full ATX version that we have here. We just took this we built this in a previous stream. It's still in the full configuration here. But we can quickly show you some of the components. One of them is the i360 here on top. And the reason we didn't go for the E series that we have in the previous build, but for the I, is that this one has a very nice cable cover at the side. The idea, of course, about Project Zero is that you
don't show any cables.
Yeah. Of course, graphics card here is one of the exceptions still.
Can we power this one on? Because it's
yes, this one you can power on.
Do you have?
There should be a power cable somewhere there.
There are many, but
There is one there.
Okay, yeah. I can do that.
Yeah. So cable management is really nice on the I series, and that's also what makes it a very good fit with a Project Zero build. So that's why we went with that one. It is slightly more expensive than the E series, especially the E series have some very good deals in Black Friday. You could save some money by going for the E360 instead of the i360. But that's one of the reasons also why this one is slightly more expensive.
I think it's booting.
Yeah. They just switched the LEDs off.
Did I?
I think so.
Which button is the LED button?
Well, they did flash. Maybe it's switched off on the motherboard, it's also possible.
Then why do we show it?
I don't know, I thought you were going to show RGB, but
Can you check the buttons? Because I don't know, maybe there's only power button?
This is.
Ah, okay.
So I think you had the wrong button. This is the LED button, so you can cycle through.
Fat finger, so probably one touch I push 3 buttons. Now we just need to find out what the third button was.
So you can do a lot of different colors. It also has the cool infinity mirror effect right there in the CPU block. As you can see, there's also a white graphics card in here. Same as the case.
RGB fish tank.
This one, in this configuration, we also picked one of our white graphics card models. So the Gaming Slim, in this specific configuration you see here in front of us, is the regular gaming edition, so that one is slightly thicker. It's a 3 slot. It's a little over 3 slots, the other one is a little over 2 slots. So yeah, but this is what you can expect from a Project Zero case. So that also means the connectors are on the back of the motherboard, so all the cables are well hidden.
We have one board here, right?
Yeah. This is not the exact model from the configuration. This is actually one of our engineering samples for, it bit me already. That's always the thing with Project Zero, because the connector is on the back. So if you grab it the normal way, then it may hurt a bit. This is an engineering sample, but it is based on the B650 chipset. So it is a little bit reminiscent of the actual model that you can find in the market, which is the B650M Project Zero. But what makes Project Zero unique is that the connectors are located on the back of the motherboard. So let me show you up close. Usually you would find, for example, the CPU power connector either in this corner, that's the most common place, or for some boards right there. This is where you would usually find the 24-pin ATX power connector, but that as well is on the back of this motherboard. It's not just the power connectors, also the other connectors like the fan headers are right here. Here on the bottom you have a bunch of connectors, like more fan headers, the front headers, RGB connectors. You have SATA ports here on the back, here on the back as well. The front USB header is here. Front USB Type-C is there. So that's the difference between a regular motherboard and a Project Zero motherboard. So this still engineering sample, so it looks a little bit different, the model that is in the market right now. But I think very nice in a build like we have here at the moment. So this is also a micro-atx motherboard. The one right here is a full ATX one. There's currently an Intel build here, but for this configuration it is equipped with the B650M Project Zero, which is of course an AM5 motherboard. So that pairs very well with the Ryzen 7 7700X.
Memory is the same, a little bit more expensive because it's in white.
It's like a silver, so it matches really nice with the motherboard actually, because it's also in silver. Those memory modules are actually in this system right now. It is maybe a little bit hard to see, but those are the silver G-Skill modules. Can you turn it a little bit? Is that possible?
Yeah.
So you can see, I hope you can see a bit of the memory module.
Then the GPU is the same GPU, however also in white, and that makes it a little bit more expensive. I think like $50 or something. And maybe it is possible that I had a Black Friday deal on the black one, and you know. We use the same SSD. We use the same power supply. However, now in white, I don't know the price difference. I think this one in white was cheaper, the power supply.
Is it?
Yeah, I believe, you know, we had some things in white are more expensive and some things are cheaper, so...
Usually because we do more volume in black, I would say in general those are a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, but this maybe was a bit of a Black Friday deal or something.
It is also, there's so much hardware around me, I'm just hitting everything all the time. By the way, we can take this away. And it's not split in half, so you can just drop it in your corner.
Do it the Eric way?
Yeah, you didn't do your fitness today, so yeah, you can drag it out. That's okay. And it's off in 3, 2, 1, out.
So tomorrow somebody has to repair his windows.
You're gonna do that, right?
No. No.
I saw Skeets commenting earlier, black looks more gaming to me. That can be the case. Actually, the Pano one that you find right there, the Pano M100R, but also the ATX model that Eric just took off the table. Those are available both in black and white. So if you're more into a black Project Zero type of build, that's also an option.
Yeah, they're growing already.
What do you think? Does black systems or white systems, what looks more gaming to you? For me, it doesn't really matter. I think for white, it's usually a color that is appreciated by people who love RGB because it's so reflective, so it pops out a bit more. I know Monkit, he's really into RGB and he loves white builds because of that. I personally also prefer black, but I don't have any RGB in my build, so that makes it a little bit different for me.
Yeah, a difficult choice. I mean, that's for everybody personally. Yeah,
but the cases, but also the graphics card, the liquid cooler, etc., the power supply, memory modules, all available in black and white versions. So you can pick whichever you like best. So also the Project Zero.
RGB is more gaming. True that.
That's true. That's true. But also the Project Zero build you can do in black if you want to.
Yeah. So as you can see, it's only about €150 difference. Yeah. But you can make that almost a zero, but then you need to compromise a little bit on components. So Mike has a more expensive liquid cooler.
If you replace it by the E360 wide, still very nice. It doesn't have the cable cover, however, that the new i-series have. That's one of the new features. But that will, especially with Black Friday, because the E-series will have some very nice deals on them, would make it a little bit more expensive and would bring the price closer to the
That's why I want to show you white and Project Zero, you know, it's only a small extra investment. It's not that expensive.
No, it's not that Project Zero by default makes it much more expensive.
No. Because the case is also compatible with ADX.
Yeah.
So.
The case is actually a very affordable model as well, the Pano one. We also have a more expensive Project Zero case. We will see that one later on as well. But the Pano is an MAG model. Yeah, it's behind you. MAG model, so a bit more affordable model, but still very nice. But it doesn't have like any very specific bells and whistles that you will find on certain higher end cases. Okay.
Okay, so that is the mid-range Project Zero. Now we go to our high-end PC.
Before we do that, let's do another giveaway.
You are into the giveaways today.
Yeah, I am.
If you are on YouTube and Twitch, you can click on the Gleam link in the chat. You can still participate to win a Steam, right?
Steam, yeah, not a Gleam
wallet
Steam
code.
Wallet code.
Yeah, Steam wallet code. And the next winner is, oh, I cannot read it.
Rom.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Ron with the loyalty bonus. Thank you.
Congrats.
Yeah.
It's missing the CD. It's not a CD-ROM.
And double M. The N. I cannot read it.
No, it is a
it's
single
ROM.
Yeah.
ROM.
Rom, congratulations. You also won a Steam wallet code.
Read-only memory.
Read-only memory, indeed. That's what it stands for. So we've now had our entry-level gaming PC. We've had our mid-range gaming PC.
Two of them,
because we also had like the Project Zero variation on the mid-range gaming PC, but same performance.
Ooh, some people are going to be disappointed. The ultimate range is obviously godlike. Well, actually, this is a high-end PC. It's not ultimate.
Godlike, you will see godlike later in one of the configurations, but it won't be in the high-end gaming PC.
No.
So let's go to this one. For this one, we specifically aimed for the highest frame rates in games. Godlike offers a lot, but it doesn't specifically offer higher frame rates. A motherboard doesn't magically make your CPU or GPU faster.
Nope, only RGB does.
Yeah. So there is actually a relatively affordable motherboard in this configuration. It is a very good one though. It is based on the latest 800 series, so it is the MAG X870 Tomahawk Wi-Fi. I actually also have it right here. It has some cool yellow greenish accents that our chroma key struggles a lot with.
Yeah.
So it is actually not one of our flagship motherboards, but for a specific gaming PC, this will perform just as well as a Godlike.
And saves you a lot of money.
Saves you a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course, you can go with a higher end motherboard if you want to, but don't specifically expect.
You don't get more performance.
Yeah.
You get more features. Like
in certain ways, you can get more performance. Like for example, if you want to run more Gen 5 SSDs or things like that. And from that perspective, you can get more performance,
FPS.
but not gaming performance. No. So based on our X870 Tomahawk motherboard, and in there we basically put the fastest gaming CPU out there. 2 weeks ago we had Martijn over from AMD in our studio to talk about this new CPU. I have it here in front of me, and this is the Ryzen 7 9800 X3D. This CPU is in very high demand. It can be in certain regions a bit hard to get. It is the latest X3D CPU by AMD. Like the 7700X, this is also an 8-core. This is not meant for productivity. This is really a gaming CPU. Like 12 cores and 16 core CPUs will be faster in productivity workloads. But specifically for gaming, this is basically unbeatable at this point. The cool thing about the 9000 series X3D compared to the 7000 X3D is that they're also very good at overclocking. So if you want to overclock your X3D CPU, make sure to go for the latest 9000 series, because the 7800 X3D was a little bit more sensitive to voltages and stuff like that. That was also why it was clocked slightly lower. Whereas in the latest generation X3D, this one is actually clocked slightly higher than the non-X3D counterpart.
So, Mike, maybe you can talk a little bit about the main board, because I see some questions. First of all, the second and third are PCI Express Gen 4 X4 slots.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you still have the main board?
Yeah, I have the motherboard right here.
I should say motherboard, but I always say main board.
So what was the exact question?
Sorry?
So what was your exact question?
Let me see. Are those second and third slots PCI Express X4 Gen 4?
Yeah, I believe from top of my head the primary slot is a Gen 5 slot. The other ones are Gen 4 slots.
Yeah, on AMD.
Yeah.
And it also uses the new clipping system?
Yeah, so we had
One touch.
Earlier we had a question about this. Does it have the new button? The 600 series do not have this, but this is an 800 series motherboard, and right there you see the button. And that one, you can already see it at the primary PCI Express slot. It locks or unlocks the graphics card.
But also to lock the M.2 SSDs.
Yeah, for that we have
we don't,
the screwless M.2.
I won't say we don't have a screwdriver, but yeah,
you don't
we
need
don't
a
need
screwdriver.
anymore.
You can just take it out. And also the new Easy M.2 clip Gen 2 in here. So you can easily install an SSD, just press it down, unlock. You don't need any screwdrivers for this anymore. So that's one of the benefits about the latest generation, so the 800 series AMD motherboards. They have a bit more of these DIY friendly things compared to the 600 series. For this model, we actually went with the same liquid cooler as in the Project Zero one. So this is the i360. This is also a preference-based thing. If you want to go with the E series, also perfectly fine for this. A 240mm liquid cooler, also still very possible with the Ryzen 7 CPU. Cool thing is with this X3D CPU is that overclocking is possible as well. That's why I went with the 360mm cooler here as well.
Instead of 240?
Instead of a 240. But you can, especially if you run that stock, it's perfectly fine to run this under a 240mm liquid cooler. And you can also go with the E series, I series. E series will have some nice deals with it if you save some money during Black Friday. In terms of memory, we went with almost the same G-Scale memory modules that we've shown you earlier, but these I have right here are CL30, whereas the ones in this configuration are the new CL28 memory modules. So those are even slightly better in terms of cache latency.
Also a bit more expensive.
Yeah, a bit more expensive, but yeah, for this configuration,
is this the one, the 28 one? Because I don't see it.
Did you copy the wrong one in?
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, it says J30. Not sure. Anyway, this should be the 28.
Yeah. Go for this configuration. If you want the best gaming performance, go with the 28.
Yeah.
It's of course like 30 is still quite low latency, so it's not a huge difference compared to 28. But if you really want the best gaming performance, then 28 would be slightly better. Skeet says 32 gigabyte, right? Yeah. In this configuration, like 64, 32 doesn't really help you for gaming performance.
Nope.
At least not at this point.
Only give you a bigger swap file.
But of course, if you want to make your system more future-proof, you could go with 64. 64 gigabyte, however, will mostly benefit you in productivity workloads. This system was not configured for productivity workloads.
No, it's gaming.
Yeah, it's just an 8-core CPU. There will be much more affordable CPUs that offer much better productivity performance.
With more cores.
With more cores,
yeah.
But they will be slower in gaming. This CPU is basically unbeatable in gaming right now.
And that's also, we already talked about the Godlike mainboard, why it's not included in this one. We focus at FPS. So Godlike will not help with that, so it will only add cost. So this is purely gaming highest FPS.
Yeah. That doesn't mean that you will get a performance hit on Godlike. You still get the same gaming performance. It's still perfectly fine. So if you want Godlike for other reasons, of course, it has some cool screens, stuff like that as well. So you can go with Godlike. You do, however, need a bigger case if you go for Godlike. But for gaming performance, the Tomahawk will perform just as well. For the graphics card, we went with, of course, fastest graphics card on the market right now, RTX 4090 Supreme X 24 gigabyte.
If you can still get it, because 4090 is not available anymore in, I would say, short supply.
Yeah, short supply. It is technically still available, but it's a bit harder to get. I also saw that influences the price a little bit. I see a question related to this. Emmeline says, do you think a 1000 watt power supply is okay? Yes, for sure. Actually, the Ryzen 7 9800 X3D is not an extremely power hungry CPU. Also, of course, has to do with the fact that it's an 8-core CPU.
It's mainly for the GPU, this one.
I would say you could even run this on, for example, 850 watt power supply. It's also still possible. However, the 1000 watt model gives you a little bit more headroom in case you want to maybe upgrade your CPU even further in the future. Because, of course, this is still AM5, it will offer you that upgrade path. But yeah, 1000 watt power supply for this configuration easily can run this. Easily.
Yeah, so there are a lot of rumors about new GPUs, there are a lot of rumors about new CPUs, new X3Ds. If indeed these are launched, we don't know what the power usage will be. So with this kind of power supply, you're at least ready for it. Normally, we're quite conservative about how big a PSU needs to be. But yeah, when you think about buying a new PC and an upgrade path, it's always good to keep that in mind, that you need some extra space. It doesn't mean you cannot upgrade, because if there, for example, next generation GPU in the same thermal or power envelope range, it will probably give you more performance.
Yeah. Alan says our 9900X is cheaper, and I've seen the 9950 cheaper than the 9800 X3D. Yeah, can very well be possible. That in certain situations, the X3D Ryzen 7 is more expensive than the non-X3D Ryzen 9. I think at the moment it also has to do a bit with the limited supply, or at least the high demand. I think mostly it is. Or scalpers even.
Yeah.
So that
I saw Nintendo, they were talking about Switch 2, and they asked them, how are you going to prevent scalpers? We're going to make a lot of them. Yeah.
It does help.
Yeah, if there's enough supply.
Yeah. But of course it is difficult, like right after launch, for AMD to keep up with the demand, because the demand is really high for this CPU. So indeed, it is quite an expensive CPU. That is definitely the case. But it is basically just the best you can get for gaming at this point. Then the SSD. We did go with basically the same model, the M482, but in this case it's the 2 terabyte model. Of course, also with preparing for bigger AAA title games, things like that. Why didn't we go with a Gen 5? Basically because for gaming it will not give you any extra performance. It doesn't matter if you use a Gen 4 or Gen 5 SSD in terms of frame rate. Gen 5 SSDs can give you a benefit in certain productivity workloads, especially when you're writing away very big files, things like that. But that's not the goal of this PC. The goal of this PC is really frame rate, best possible gaming performance. So that's why you don't specifically see like the highest end motherboard in this, not the highest end SSD, but you do see the best gaming CPU and the highest end graphics card.
We have Gungnir?
What are you looking for?
Gungnir?
Gungnir? No, there's no Gungnir.
Oh, good.
This model we didn't have on hand.
So I don't have to do fitness.
No, you don't have to do fitness with this one. For this one we picked the Gungnir 300, our airflow case. Very nice case. It also offers the possibility to mount your GPU vertically if you want to. You can also go for the regular horizontal position.
Again, I agree with Skeets. He's saying 2 terabyte only for $4,000 US dollars. Yeah, I mean, for 120 you probably have 2 extra. So indeed, all small things.
Yeah, the thing is, of course, you can make this a higher end still. It will make it a little bit more expensive even.
This is not the ultimate PC.
No, not for gaming, yes. For gaming, it's basically the ultimate. Yeah. More storage, again, it doesn't make your system faster. It doesn't give you higher FPS. But if you want to store more games at the same time, you can definitely go for a bigger SSD. Yeah. Also, if you want to go for more memory, I wouldn't specifically say for a gaming system it matters that much. 32 gig is perfectly fine. Nope, but of course you can go with 64 as well. Yeah. But yeah, here the goal was really frame rate.
For the power supply, you already talked about that one?
This is the same power supply as with the previous configuration.
No.
Oh, sorry, we haven't. No, this is the next one. Spoiler alert. Yeah, so this is the 1000 watt. We will use the same in the next
one. But we already talked about it,
PCIe 5 as well, so the same connector that we talked about before with the MAG power supply. Yeah. It is 1000 watt, 80 plus gold certified, and it has that new 12 plus 4 pin PCIe 5 power connector, up to 600 watts through single connector.
Then the case, the Gungnir, we don't have it on hand, luckily, because probably it's quite heavy as well. 300R, R means RGB, so it comes with RGB fans. You see it in the right bottom corner over there. Yeah. Over here. Hey, that's me. I'm also sitting on the right bottom corner. Yeah. I'm actually sitting left, but...
From my perspective, yes. Yeah. Looking from the camera, no.
Yeah, really nice case, and the beauty what you can do with this one is also mount your GPU vertically.
It comes with a support as well. Yeah. The 4090 Supreme is a big graphics card.
Heavy.
Yeah, heavy as well. Like if it is in a fixed position on your desk, it will be perfectly fine. However, if you also want to maybe transport your system, if you want to take it to a LAN party, whatever, and you take it in your car, you drive over a speed bump, you may want to have some extra support. Yeah. So that's why there is a GPU support stand integrated into that case. It is adjustable, so you can make it fit perfectly for your graphics card. It's also compatible with both the vertical or the horizontal installation method. The airflow in the name means that the front of the case is completely made out of mesh. So the 3 fans that come included in the case, 3 times 120mm ARGB fans. Another one is included as well in the rear of the case. But that it will provide perfect airflow because of the mesh at the front of the case. Of course, the graphics card is a really high-end one. It does need quite a bit of cooling. It does consume quite a bit of power under full load. So good cooling in your case is important.
Somebody asked, are you going to publish this? Maybe you, not me, you should make a blog out of this.
Blog out of this?
Yeah.
Maybe if I have time.
With fine-tuning some more storage.
Like just put more storage and everything. But that also bumps the price up for everything. That's the thing.
Yeah, but I think it's a valid, yeah.
It depends on the person, I think. If you want to have a lot of games installed, then sure. But yeah, if you, hey.
Oh.
Did you? We're back.
Oh, I had a heart attack. You said A, and I was like, oh, did our live stream cut out? But then I saw, oh no, we're still there.
Yeah. No, the live stream's still okay.
Don't let me do workouts and give me a heart attack. That's not good. Whoa.
No, but of course this is just an indication. So you can fine tune this to your own liking. If you need more storage, go with it. Just keep in mind that it will be a bit more expensive.
Yeah.
Also, for this SSD, I think it only goes up to 2 terabyte. I think that's the highest end model.
Yes. Well, no, probably it's also 4.
Yeah,
but
I'm not sure.
Maybe not sold in Europe.
We have to ask Peter if that's but yeah, we definitely have 4 terabyte SSDs as well.
Maybe do a giveaway.
Yeah, normal.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you're going to send out the codes today because there's
Am I?
Yeah,
not today, for sure not.
Not tomorrow.
No, I have a lot of meetings.
Oh, then too bad winners. It will take.
Probably Friday. Next winner is Yemi507.
Congratulations! You also won a Steam wallet code.
Congrats.
And make sure to participate if you haven't done so yet.
Next system.
Let me make some space again for some different components. But you can already.
It's a streaming PC.
Yep.
And what do you want to do with a streaming PC? You want to play games, and at the same time capture or stream.
Yeah, so this is like for content creators, YouTubers, people who want to stream on Twitch. So this is kind of a hybrid between a gaming PC and a content creation PC. And you immediately see this in the CPU choice because we have moved from a Ryzen 7 CPU with 8 cores to a Ryzen 9 with 16 cores. This, however, is a 7000 series because in the 9000 series, at least at the moment, there is no 9000X3D model. So basically, if you want to have the combination of productivity, so a lot of cores basically, and gaming performance, so that's where the X3D comes in, then the 7950 X3D is still a very capable CPU. I also have it right here in my CPU box. Let me see this one.
How many entries do the winners have? Don't worry about that. I mean, it's a big, how do you say that? Chance that you will win. We only have like 5 viewers or something on average, so.
Should be fine.
Yeah, you should be fine. Just keep trying.
Did you bully all the other viewers away? So 7950 X3D, Ryzen 9. The cool thing about this, of course, is that it has 2 CCDs. One of them has 3D V cache, so that's the X3D part. And that is very good for gaming. But it also has 8 of the regular cores that are very good for productivity. So also if you want to game and stream on a single PC, this PC is very capable of doing so. And you can even choose if you want to do the encoding on the CPU or the GPU, or maybe even both if you want to stream to multiple
encoding I would do on the GPU nowadays because the GeForce have NVENC. Really high performance, high quality, whatever
some
you
people
want
to do encoding to multiple channels, and you want to have multiple encoding.
Yeah, well, we use Restream for that.
Yeah, we use Restream, but of course that requires a
in the past we also did it with, what was the software called again?
XSplit.
Oh yeah, XSplit, XSplit you could stream at the same time from your stream PC to different channels, and we always selected one stream on the GPU, another one on the CPU.
Yeah.
CPU didn't like it, GPU no problem.
For this build, we know a lot of streamers, they like to have a nice RGB build in the background of their stream, so we did add a bit of RGB in there, which you can, for example, see in the liquid cooler. So first I thought about the S360 as a liquid cooler, of course very high-end model with a small screen in there, but it doesn't have any RGB. So we decided to go with the E360, also because that is one of the models that has some very good deals with Black Friday.
Oh my god. Is this the most heavy case we have?
Definitely one of the most, could be the most heavy one. I already saw Alan commenting on this. The Prospect case, that's a waste of money. Well, actually the Prospect case in certain regions will also have a nice Black Friday deal. That's also why we went with this one. This is a very big case. It is an extended ATX one. The motherboard that we picked for this is the Carbon, so that's a regular ATX one. You can go with the smaller case for this as well. But this is a very nice looking case, I think. It has a small screen.
I think that's also when you want to stream,
RGB.
Capture your stream and you want to show your PC. How do you open this? Oh.
Yeah, they're just swinging doors. So that's a cool
I was
thing.
trying to find them.
Yeah. And at the front it has the LCD touchscreen, so you can also control certain things. So this is a very high-end case. Of course it is a high-end build that we picked for this. Can you turn it a little bit? And you can show where the LCD screen is located. So turn the front towards camera. Yeah, there on top, that is an LCD screen, an LCD touchscreen. So this is where you can control different things, like your RGB, you can also use for diagnostic information.
Over here.
You can control fan speeds, all those kind of things.
Yeah, you can see it on the picture better.
And this is one of the cases that in certain regions will get a nice Black Friday deal as well. If you want to save money, however, of course, you can go with the lower end case. So for example, in the previous build where we talked about the the Gungnir 300R airflow. Of course, also very much possible to use that case for this configuration. That would save you some money, for example. Motherboard we went with. You can take this off again, so you get some practice again. Then I will also do my heavy lifting and grab the carbon motherboard.
Well, I'm really happy this one isn't filled.
Yeah, because that will make it even crazier. So this is also from our latest generation, the MPG X870E carbon Wi-Fi motherboard. It's really nicely packed. We've used this for a video before. And of course, this is a nice motherboard. It also has some RGB in there. It has some RGB in the NO2 slot, the RGB dragon right there. And just a very well-featured motherboard. Also very impressive I/O on this motherboard. Streamers usually tend to use a lot of peripherals as well.
We always have that. We have a dedicated streaming PC.
We should upgrade that motherboard as well, because we're still using a 400 series Intel for it.
Yeah, Intel.
Because we did we picked the mainboard for dual Intel LAN, right?
Yeah.
But now we don't use the dual LAN anymore, do we?
Look,
No.
dual LAN. We could use this one in the future. But yeah,
we should upgrade. Oh, hey, it has our cooler in. Or air cooler.
Yeah, that's the air cooler in there as well. But yeah, it maybe needs an upgrade. We can go for a bit newer liquid cooler, more I/O, because that's a limiting factor for us.
I want to have RTX 40 because we're not using that for encoding.
That's true. And even the entry-level 40 series have that new encoder, so that could also be
single. I think from
single one, yeah.
Yeah, 4080 they have dual.
Yeah, but this one does also have dual LAN, so that would also for streaming. Because, for example, we run at two networks simultaneously.
Yeah, we have reached the PC porn level.
So I think for streaming, a very nice option. In the case we picked, you can also go with an extended ATX model. So if you want to go for even a higher end motherboard, it's also very well possible. But this is already very high end and very well equipped.
Where's the Ace Max on AMD?
Maybe in the future.
Soon at CES. Well, soon, beginning of January.
I can't promise you an Ace Max, but we will definitely have more AMD models coming. So we are working on a lot of different AM5 motherboards.
What's the price of this one, Mike?
I think this one is around 500, 600, I believe. It depends on the region as well, and if it's Euro or...
It's expensive.
Yeah, this is of course latest generation. It's also X870E.
Yeah.
Whereas in the previous configuration, we went with a regular X870. X870E is a little bit more expensive, but also gives you more versatility in case you want to use adding cards, things like that. Also offers you more I/O.
USB 4.0.
Yes, so that's the other one.
No, which one are you talking about? I thought you were
the
referring...
X870 Tomahawk that we have in the
X870 all.
Yeah. But X870E, especially for example, streaming, maybe you want to use multiple capture cards, a lot of USB devices, all those kind of things. Their X870E can provide you some added value. Memory modules we basically already talked about before. Here we went with a regular CL30 models. The modules instead of the CL28. Of course, 28 will give you a little bit more performance, but will make it more expensive again. Hey. Uh-oh. Capture card.
It's my...
Yeah, so maybe we shouldn't advise the capture card that we are using for this system. Graphics card we picked for this is an RTX 4080 Super Gaming X Slim Edition. So still very high-end graphics card, not as extremely high-end as the previous one, but also makes this system a little bit more affordable than the previous one. Of course, if you really want best gaming performance, you can upgrade this to a 4090, but that would also bump the price up a bit. I think in general this is still a very high-end gaming PC. And especially if you, for example, run this in 1440p, you will be perfectly fine. If you only want to play 1080p, then it will be even better, because a lot of streamers, of course, still stream in 1080p. A lot of the platforms are still limited to this. SSD, here we went with the PCI Express Gen 5. 2 terabyte model. You can also go for a 4 terabyte model, of course, if you need to. But
Gen 5, you basically have 3 different speed levels. Let's say 7,000, 10,000 and 14,000. So this is like a 7,000 version. That means it doesn't generate as much heat. And you don't need that much cooling.
Yeah, so you can also use this in easily with the integrated cooler on the motherboard because it's very capable. It's also dual-sided on this motherboard, so it also cools the back of the SSD. It has the double-sided and the 2-shield frozzer. This PC, of course, apart from streaming, is also very suitable for content creation, and that's why we went with a bit faster SSD, because sometimes also if you want to handle very large video files.
We saw it with DataMac, with the iPhone feature, the ProRes feature. How much data it really was capturing, how big the files, amazing.
I also know it from our video editor when he does recordings. We always record in native 4K resolution. And
for a 1080p video edit.
Yeah, but still,
he wants to be able to cut
and edit, and then in the end make a 1080p video. But we still record everything in 4K resolution, and those files can be huge. So that's also in this situation. We went with the 2 terabyte for this configuration. Of course, you can very well go with a 4 terabyte as well, but depending on your needs. We went with the same power supply here, so that's the MPG A1000G PCIe 5. Still perfectly sufficient for this build, even a little bit overkill. Even 850 watt would do, but still here you have upgradability options. So we decided to go with a little bit of headroom here with a 1000 watt power supply.
If you want more performance, you can always choose to have 2 1 terabyte SSDs, for example, in RAID.
Yeah, RAID 0, that would indeed give you more performance.
But I don't advise this because, yes, you get speed, but you don't get safety.
No, because if one of the SSDs dies, then everything is gone from both of the SSDs. Yeah. That's something to keep in mind with RAID 0. But yeah, you could get even higher speeds with that. Yeah, I think all in all for streaming, very nice configuration. Let me know if you
it's
guys agree.
It's a mix between gaming and content creation, this one. So that's also why we have a lot of different choices compared to the purely gaming PC.
Yeah. So we kind of, compared to the high-end gaming PC, we downgraded the GPU a little bit, so not the flagship model. We're not specifically going for the highest FPS here. Then, of course, we would have gone with the 4090, but would have made it more expensive. But we did go with a CPU with a higher core count, because you want to do more things simultaneously, and that's when cores do make a difference. And also, if you want to do rendering things on this, that, of course, the 16-core CPU will just be faster than an 8-core CPU. Even though the 9800 X3D it's a fantastic CPU for gaming, there are better options for productivity, simply because they have more cores.
Is this the bridge to the next slide?
Yes, because you can go even further in terms of productivity. And this is our productivity powerhouse. And this is basically, if you specifically want to do productivity workloads, rendering, those kind of things, editing, all kind of things, then this is basically it is an extremely high-end system. That's also why it's a very expensive system.
Well, in this segment, probably price doesn't matter. Because if content creators can finish their job earlier,
if it saves time, then in the end, it will earn itself back. Yeah. That's true. That's true.
This is a small investment for them in order to do their work. So
of course, depends on the person and how professionally you do it as well.
Yeah. And then you're not going to buy this to render one video and then that's it.
Of course, you can make it even more crazy, but then you would have to go to more of like a Threadripper platform. Also possible.
Nah, I would say, nowadays, like 5 to 7 years ago, all the rendering was CPU based. Now a lot of those software suites have GPUs.
And that's also why we went with 2 of them in this configuration.
GPU precision is not as good as on the CPU. But CPU will take much longer and you almost don't see the quality difference.
And still, 9950X, 16-core CPU, latest Zen 5 architecture. It's still very fast.
And
CPU.
You still need this because like in a lot of Adobe suites, some of the plugins are still CPU based. So you can render your reel, your video, your workflow on the GPU. But a lot of those things are still with plugins, filters, etc., which need operation in your CPU.
Yeah. The cooler on this is the Core Liquid S360. So here we don't need all the RGB. This just needs to be a very
capable
and quiet powerhouse. 2 GPUs are the RTX 4080 Super Expert models. 2 of them, of course, like Eric mentioned, rendering workloads nowadays happen a lot on the GPU. So even though for gaming, I don't think a lot of games still even support SLI, for example, multi-GPU. So for gaming, just go with a single graphics card. That's also why we went with the 4090 for the high-end gaming PC. But here
Hey, Monkit is alive. Proof of life.
Monkit, there is some RGB on the godlike, so you can breathe. And also on the memory modules, because this is a productivity powerhouse, so you want a lot of memory capacity.
Novak Tom asked if Monkit was still alive, so yes, he's alive.
He is. But memory, we went with 96 gigabytes, so 2 times 48 gigabytes of Keystone Fury Renegade.
So here we ran into some problems, so why not 128?
Well, 128, well, you could go even higher because you have 4 DIMM slots. But the downside of that is that your frequency will go down a lot.
Yeah.
And here it kind of...
So it's about the 4 DIMMs. So we went for a 2 DIMM solution.
It depends though what you do exactly. So if you really want as much memory as you can go for more memory on a lower frequency. That's an alternative option. Because
if size is preferred above speed, yes.
Yeah. And this depends on what kind of productivity workloads you do. So really check with what kind of programs do you use, and do they care more about memory frequency, then go with 2 DIMMs and maybe lower capacity, or do they just care about the sheer size of the memory, then go with a lower frequency but bigger memory capacity. But still,
Skeet's saying this is not just for this only fans. Yeah, this is only for a limited number of people. I know what you're saying.
Yeah, so this is really in terms of productivity power. This is a very high-end system.
This is when it's your work, indeed, and when you're earning money with it.
Also, the reason we went with Godlike here over, for example, the Carbon that we had in the previous build is the dual graphics card. The Godlike offers lane switching with 2 times 8 over the Gen 5 PCIe slots. So both of them will get PCIe 5.0 8 lanes. That is not possible, for example, on Carbon. Then it will run at 8.4. So that's something to keep in mind. So this way you have 8 lanes available per GPU, which is perfectly fine for all those rendering workloads. SSD, Gen 5 model, of course, on this one. You want very fast storage.
I think you have that one there, right?
Yeah. Also because we're going with, this one comes with additional cooling. That's a further one, Spatium.
Yeah, so this is a faster Gen 5 SSD. So not 7,000, but now we're talking about 10, 11,000.
Yeah, and also in this segment of productivity PCs, you're probably dealing with very large files. And that is where PCI Express Gen 5 will make a lot of difference.
Yeah.
Let me also quickly grab the Godlike motherboard. So here it is, the MEG-X 870E Godlike, and this one comes with another add-in card. Keep in mind that because we're using 2 graphics cards in this configuration, you cannot use this in the second slot anymore. However, if you care more about the storage and want to use a single GPU, then you can use this one to get 2 additional Gen 5 M.2 slots. Of course, it will take 8 lanes away from your primary graphics card. But probably if you use it for productivity workloads, it won't make that much of a difference. Also not for gaming, actually. So this one comes with the Godlike, but in the configuration that we're talking about right now, that slot will be occupied by the second graphics card.
Do you have any idea how much this would earn in mining application? Is mining still a thing? I used to mine Ethereum and ZEC in the past. But I don't know any coins now. If you talk about cryptocurrency, I'm not sure what kind of other mining. Maybe you're mining for gold and you're using it to dig. What mining are you talking about, Skeets?
By the way, let's also take a look at the I/O. So very well filled I/O here. Also comes with 10 gig LAN, a whole bunch of Type-C ports, including, of course, USB 4 ports. So very well equipped motherboard. And also
Skeet's already defining his Ace Max. 3 PCI Express slots.
Like a whole wish list. For
Yeah.
The Easy Bridge you can take off. This is where the screen is located, so it's just a magnetic system. This is also where you will find the Easy PCI Express release button for the graphics card. Of course, it's also present on here. Everything here for the M.2s is screwless, so you can just grab everything off and make it into a bit more naked motherboard. And you can also see already a whole bunch of M.2 slots. And if you use the add-in card, you can even get 2 more on there.
Yes, we will do more giveaways. Don't worry about it.
Eric.
And if you participated one time, you're in the pool, so maybe you're the next lucky winner.
Yes.
Yes.
Some bad news for you. You can do some more lifting
Uh-oh.
for the case.
Which case? Do we
we're
still
gonna
have
put this
another
in.
one?
Yeah.
Oh, this one.
Another one. Yeah.
I like that one. But
It is a cool one.
probably not in weight.
No, you don't like to lift it?
Oh, this it's filled.
Difficult, like- It is filled, so because otherwise it would be too light for you.
Yeah.
I heard you didn't go to the gym today, so we have to get your exercise from something.
Hey, something is...
Did you already break stuff?
I don't know. Is this the front? Yeah. No. Yeah. No, I don't know.
I think something wasn't screwed in the back. So. Now it's as it indicates. No, that's part of the system.
This is heavy. We should have a scale here.
Here, you can put this panel in the back.
Probably my fingerprints are all over it.
There we go.
So, how do you lock this down?
So this is the MEG Maestro 700L PZ, where the PZ stands for Project Zero. Right now, there's actually a Project Zero motherboard in there. This specific one isn't it? No, this is not a full configuration.
This is a power supply in?
Yeah, power supply, but there's no graphics card in there.
Okay, never mind.
So it's not a complete build right now. Even though it is a Project Zero case, this is still compatible with regular motherboards as well. So in the configuration we just talked about is a regular motherboard for as far as you can call it, like a regular motherboard. But so it's not a Project Zero motherboard. That's no problem for this. Very high-end case, lots of space. Also possible to use dual graphics card in this. But keep in mind that currently, for example, you see the vertical mount here. That won't be possible with dual GPU. So then you will need to go with a regular horizontal mounting position. Actually, in the top of this one, there is an S360 at the moment. So that's the same one as you will see in this configuration. And the power supply in this one is also the same one as you see in this list, and that's the MEG AI 1300P PCIe 5. Reason that we go with this one, of course, is we need a very strong power supply to power 2 graphics cards instead of 1. Keep in mind that the power supply only comes with a single PCIe 5.0 power connector, so the second one you will need to do with an adapter. I believe it also comes with a graphics card by default, right?
Not anymore. I'm not sure.
Anymore?
Used to be, yeah.
Yeah, it used to be. The 6+2 pin, 3 of them to a single. In the future, we will also have power supplies that
We
offer
already have, or not on
not
the
on the
market
market
yet.
yet. We have already showed them at Gamescom, for example.
Yeah.
We did a live stream.
Yeah.
We talked about. They will be there in the future, but they're not out at this point yet. So if you want to have 2 native 12+4 pin PCIe 5 power cables, then you need to wait for those. So 1300 watt power supply in this one, and of course that is if you run dual graphics cards, the power consumption of your PC will go up quite a lot compared to single one, and especially in those kind of productivity workloads. That's also when your power supply becomes increasingly important compared to gaming, because with gaming you will never completely stress your whole PC. With productivity you can.
Yeah.
Depending, of course, on the program, on what you do. But for example, if you do rendering on your GPUs, or 2 of them in this case, certain programs can run them both at 100% load. So that's a lot of power draw.
There are programs who basically run several instances of Adobe Premiere, so they can launch more render threads at the same time.
Yeah. So that's also a continuous...
It's more like render farm software.
Yeah, indeed. So that's also like a continuous load that is very high. So for a productivity system, it is more important to go for a higher wattage power supply than it would be for a gaming system. I think a lot of people kind of overspec their power supply for a gaming system, which is not bad at all because it's safer to go for a somewhat stronger model and a weaker model. But for a productivity system, really make sure you have a strong enough power supply. Eric, you can lift it off again.
Oh, no.
Oh, you thought you were already done working out? Not just yet. Because then we have some space to talk about the graphics card, because I actually have that one right here.
This one is really heavy. And there's no GPU inside or what?
No, I can put a Supreme inside if you want.
Are you serious?
Yes.
This is really heavy. Ooh.
EN9K also has a good point on Twitch chat. I overspec my PSU so it stays silent. Yeah, in certain situations that can indeed also make a difference. So, for example, a lot of power supplies nowadays are semi-passive. So they will switch on their fan at a certain point. And usually the higher wattage power supplies, they do that at a higher wattage than the lower wattage ones. So usually it's at a certain percentage of load. So for example, it will switch the fan off if it is at 40% load of capacity. So if you have a 1000 watt power supply, it will switch it on at 400 watts of load. But if you have a 500 watt power supply, that will only be 200 watts, for example. So if you want to have it more silent, then that's definitely, in many situations, it can also be worth it to overspec your power supply a little bit. Let's talk about the expert graphics card.
You only have one?
I only have one right here. Unfortunately, I don't have two samples available in the configuration. There are two of these. Actually a pretty cool card. Fans on both sides. This is a 4080 Super. Let's compare it to the 4090 from the high-end gaming system, because I also have that one right here.
And maybe also the
And that's the
4060.
Supreme one. And the 4060 also still. Yeah. So it is a little bit smaller. So in terms of thickness, you can see a little bit. Where did I put the 4060? It's so small that I don't even see it anymore.
Hey.
Oh, there it is.
Oh.
I found it.
Yeah, maybe put that one in front. Maybe remove that rock.
There we go.
Yeah.
So big size difference. So 4080 Super, 4090. So the Super is an expert model. The 4090 is a Supreme model. And this is the 4060 from our earlier configuration. Let's have a look at the thickness. So the 4060 is just a regular dual slot card. It's not thicker than the actual two slots that you see in the bracket. Then we have the Expert, and that one is exactly 3 slots thick. So as you can see, big difference compared to the 4060. And then there is the 4090 Supreme X that we have in the high-end gaming system.
Needs to lift it with two hands because they're really heavy.
Yeah, and this one is, I think it's like basically 4 slots in thickness almost. It has a 3-slot bracket, but it's actually thicker than the 3 slots. So big size difference in terms of graphics card. So this is also something to keep in mind if you choose for different case. Make sure you have sufficient size, because also in terms of length, 4090, 4060. So huge difference. Yeah. And the Expert is almost as long as the 3-fan 4090. So also a huge graphics card. Skeet says that's literally the size of a brick, of a big brick actually.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And this one uses more power than your brick.
Yeah. So for example, in this configuration, the Maestro 700L PC is a very big case. Also, of course, in this configuration, we're using a standard ATX motherboard, so we need a big case for this with 2 graphics cards as well. If you want to go for different case, make sure everything fits. Because the Godlike is a big motherboard, the Expert cards are big graphics cards, and 4090 is as well, of course, for the high-end gaming system. Anything else to add for this system?
No, don't buy this if you're a gamer.
Yeah, for gaming, this will not perform as well as the much cheaper high-end gaming system. So you will get a higher-end motherboard in this. You will get more memory size. You get more SSD space, all those kind of things. You get a stronger power supply. But the high-end gaming PC will give you more FPS because there is a slightly faster graphics card in there, and the Ryzen 7 9800 X3D is an absolute beast in gaming. For productivity, however, different story.
That Boy Tipsy on YouTube is going to be on sale on Friday, Monday. A lot of the components we selected today, not all, are going to be in deals around the world. We mainly focused on Europe. That's where we had the data from. But yeah, there will be a lot of deals and already ongoing because it used to be Black Friday, then they added Cyber Monday, now it's Black Friday week, and now I already see some companies doing pre-Black Friday deals. So it's November.
And it was Black Friday, then you got Black Week, Black Month, I think soon we have Black Year, Black Decade, Black Millennium.
Oh yeah, you need to have the money indeed to keep buying, even if it's on the deal.
Yeah, but indeed, we picked some specific products. So, for example, the E-series liquid coolers, I know there are some very good deals coming on. B650 Tomahawk is one that I saw. The Pro B550-A.
A lot of monitors, SSDs, gaming gear. Some GPUs as well. So yeah, a lot of deals.
One soy says SLI 248. Do I look like I sell oil? Well, your name is soy, so I wouldn't expect oil.
No,
But
soy.
soy sauce can also be very expensive if you get the good one.
Yeah.
The good Japanese stuff. But yeah, this is really for productivity. So also the goal of having a very high-end PC for these kind of things is that in the long run, people who use this professionally will save time, and time is money, especially if you use
How
it
many
professionally.
virtual machines will this run at a time? It really depends how much CPU and memory you allocate to those machines.
And what
but-
things you want to run on the virtual
Yeah, but
machine as well.
you know, this is not for servers. For sure,
Yeah.
you can run virtual machines on it, but we focused at rendering because if we're going to look into servers, probably we'll make a lot of other choices.
Storage, of course, very
Yeah.
big thing. Memory,
Hot
you would
swappable,
stick
RAID.
way more in.
Yeah, there are a lot of other considerations. High bandwidth connectivity.
Yeah. But lower frequency RAM, but just more of it.
Yeah,
So you would indeed go for
absolutely.
different
Yeah.
things.
So and that's the thing what you showed you today. I mean, we tried. Well, Mike, you know, he tried to make some balanced choices. Not, I mean, based on what we saw for a lot of Black Friday deals, which makes sense. But you see, there is always people have different opinions. Hey, we need more memory.
I haven't even shown
and-
this CPU yet. 9950X. Of course, looks the same as all other AM5s.
Yeah.
But yeah. 9950X.
But this really depends on your own situation. You can upgrade, you can downgrade, you can fine tune, whatever fits you.
Yeah. So nothing of this configuration is set in stone.
No.
You can fine tune whatever you like, adjust it to your liking, to your needs. This is just a bit of a recommendation. We try to go for a bit balanced systems, but of course, specific needs require specific choices. And also, like Skeets, for example, mentioned, storage is a bigger factor there. Go for a bigger SSD, and maybe you can save some cost on other parts. If you don't want to do overclocking in certain, like 7700X, you run a 240mm liquid cooler, also fine. And then you can invest that money in a bigger SSD, for example.
And you know what the cool stuff is? All what you're buying is old. Because in January we have CES, and probably you'll see a lot of new products you want.
Well, I think the 9800X really launched 3 weeks ago.
But this is how it works.
Yeah, it usually
Consciously-
takes a little bit more time.
Yeah, but I mean, we have another event, and of course the products will not always be
At a
on
certain
the
point,
market.
everything will be outdated. That's
Yeah,
how it works
yeah,
in general.
that's how it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
So don't wait. You know, just make a good choice what you want to.
And also,
buy.
like we didn't always pick for these configurations the latest generation. So
Oh,
we
no,
have
for sure
7000
not.
series in certain configurations.
Yeah.
All depends on what you want to do with it. But now 7000 series, like Eric already mentioned, you can get some of the models for quite a nice price, quite a bit more affordable than certain 9000 series. I think 7700X, for example, is like $60 cheaper than 9700X. So that's also quite a big difference. And of course, 9700X will be slightly faster. But yeah, 7700X is just the more affordably priced.
I saw a question in chat. What do you have at home? I'm still running AM4, and I'm happy with it. 5800X,
I'm also still running AM4.
58, 5800X.
Yeah. I run a B550 mini-itx with a 5600X motherboard.
Yeah.
But what I play are usually very lightweight games. So,
I currently only play the finals.
yeah, did you already get good? That's a no.
I can manage.
Before we close it off for today, shall we pick one last winner
Yeah,
and
sure.
introduce next week's topic?
Yeah. Next week, maybe you've picked the winner. Oh yeah, you
Yeah, I
are
will
working
pick a
on that.
winner. I
Yeah.
will
Next
pick
week,
a
Monkit is going to talk about OLED monitors. Because this year, for MSI, we launched really a lot of OLED models. And surprise, more are coming. I'm not sure if he's going to talk about the new models already. Maybe that's for CES. For CES indeed, in January. But he will give you an overview about all the developments, all the choices you can make.
What is available?
This
what
was maybe
features
like
it have.
a roundup on systems or hardware. And then he's doing a
AMD
roundup on
DLI
monitors.
system. Yeah,
Then we only need a roundup on routers. And we're finished.
mousepads.
Yeah, indeed.
We have our last winner for the giveaway for Steam Wallet Code. So Eric, the honor is all yours.
No, I cannot read it.
Autus, I don't know if I pronounced it correctly, but you also won a Steam Wallet Code. So congrats again to all winners today. Keep an eye out on your mailbox, and Eric will mail it to you
You're
on
closer to the monitor.
Friday. You promised to them, right?
Yeah, Friday should be okay. Not on Thursday.
Not on Thursday. Okay.
So yeah, hope to see you all next week. Not sure who joins besides Monkit. He's still alive. Maybe I will join. We will see.
We'll see next week.
For sure, Peter will not join. He's too busy.
He's too lazy. So thank you all so much for watching today. Hope to see you again next week. Same place, same time.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Enjoy Black Friday.
Get some good deals. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.